The Spirit in the Body by Robert Crosbie. Letter 37. You should have got a lot of strength and courage from the present short separation and its circumstances. It may not be fully apparent just now, but the results will flow from it, if your attitude has been toward the performance of duty as it came, regardless of self-interest. This is not easy to learn, but every circumstance, taken rightly, leads to this priceless acquisition. We sometimes forget that we ourselves desired to be tried and tested, and that these trials and tests come in the ordinary events of everyday life. If we cannot take these as they should be taken, we do not gain the strength that will carry us through, nor do we lessen the bonds that hold us to rebirth. I have your letter about the meeting of Thursday night. Of course one feels one's inability to meet all inquiries, but it is the very learning of what is needed that induces the study lacking. We accept and know many things interiorly, but if we are to give others the proper words and ideas that will convey them, we have to be able to formulate them, so we practice formulation of answers, constructing them ourselves, or adopting those used by others that do so effectively. In your last paragraph you say, when the self ideates, the Mavatara is going, and the ideatios of the self are the rays from and one with the Absolute, meaning all beings from man up, all the rest of the cosmos being the results of the ideatio of these rays. Could there be any ideatios other than those of the self, whatever their focalizatios? Ideatio implies consciousness, and as everything in the universe from the atom to Brahma is conscious, each in its degree, can the self be absent from any? Is it not apparent that the personal man holds himself as separate from all the rest, and that the lower forms have less and less of such sense as they descend? How does this sound? The self ideates and the universe is formed in primeval focalizatios. In these upadhis its ideatio produces less ethereal and more limited focalizatios, so, on to the more concrete. All are forms and aspects of the self, indissoluble as to essence, ever-changing as to aspect and form, each aspect and form acting and being acted upon by every other in both ascending and descending cycles, or rounds. All re-become the self at the close of a Mavatara, each to re-emerge in its integrity at the beginning of a new one, to continue its eternally recurring active progression. To get back to the real would be like standing back from the whole manifestation and seeing how it looks, to use a phrase. Standing back thus, the real is gained, but as rest is followed by activity, still further and greater manifestation must follow. The real is the creator, preserver, and destroyer in order to further create, but is not subject to change, although the cause and experiencer of all change. The self acts only through the creatures. It can only know itself in action through its differentiations, which by the inherent power of selfhood and the action and reaction of all in giving direction, are raised from perception to self-consciousness. This self-consciousness, once achieved, must continue to expand or be lost. This, of course, is one way of putting it. Your letter of today is an excellent statement. I would add to it, the OM is the omnipresent spirit which is also in the body. Its powers are preservation, creation and destruction, the basis and the means of progress. Recreation, on an advanced basis, follows destruction until such perfection as is possible in any given age is reached, which, in turn, forms the basis for further creation. Progression is eternal, yet the self is one and changes not. One might say, as a conception, that it realizes itself through its creations. The higher the creation, the higher the realizatio. The realizatio may be individual, but that which realizes is the self. It cannot be fully understood, yet the mind gets glimpses now and then which no word or idea can convey. As to masters, the power of preservation is theirs as well as other powers. Any height may be retained as long as serviceable, or if not retained in particular can be quickly reached when needed. The present time may be a period when preservation is in force, who knows? Some have bodies of the highest transmutation of matter, others are emarchias, we are told. The sheaths used are in accordance with the work to be done. Emarchias can and do act in the way you describe. If they did not retain the emarchia kosher, they would be beyond the possibility of helping humanity. By this it would seem that certain preservations are necessary for long periods, possibly a mavatara. So, there must be a retaining in order to remain and help. This is the sacrifice, and it must be so all along the line. They help on higher planes always, their lower koshas enable them to help on lower planes as well. At least, that is what I understand from what is given. The copies of the pamphlets you send are priceless in value for students whose eyes are open. The unfortunate thing is, that until each one has clarified his perceptions, he would not know gold of Afi from base metal. So much that is here and ready is too high for most, if given, it avails them not. You know how that is in your own progress, words and sentences do not always have the same meaning. The point of view alters them. The danger lies, as you say, in finalities. A high concept serves as a stepping stone to higher ones. As stepping stones they are good, but as resting places they are distinctly inhibitive of progress. Progress precludes finality. Well, good nights and days to you.